Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. on this 22nd day of January. It is a Thursday. We're one day away from Saturday Eve. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, we're going to get into all sorts of drama. We'll get into some NFL news and headlines. We'll talk some baseball, some basketball that we can fit in. We'll have our boy Anthony Jauregui coming in at the top of the hour, a day before the grand opening of the Well Comedy Club here in town. Plus, we'll help you make some money as we go into the conference championships as Bolt Brady from Bolt Brady and His Bro joining us at 8:30. Plus, you can call or text in anytime during the show at 661-842-2000.
LeBron seems to be in the middle of some Buss family drama. I'm very excited to see what's going on with this, to be honest with you, because everybody just sees beef between Jeanie and LeBron. Personally, I don't think Jeanie holds any grudges, but I'm sure she's kind of sick and tired of LeBron being thrown into everything Buss related. But let's be honest, that's not necessarily LeBron probably sticking his head into their family biz.
Just a little sour grapes going around in Laker land.
A little bit.
The Knicks bounce back. We'll get into that and much, much more. But what do you want to get into first?
You know what? We at this point are a football show. Let's be honest. We are a football show. We love football. Football is king. So let's start with the NFL, because there's a couple stories out of the NFL that we have to talk about before we get to the NFC and AFC championship games. First and foremost was the comments yesterday by Bills owner, Mr. Pegula. We broke some of it yesterday off of a Adam Schefter tweet talking about how the Keon Coleman situation, he doesn't think it's fair to put it on Mr. Brandon Beane, who is now the head of football operations, or president of football operations, I should say, and still general manager of the Buffalo Bills. Make it make sense. But I wanted to pull the audio just so we didn't take his comments out of what they were. We didn't misconstrue you guys and tell you something that he didn't actually say. So let's start with the Keon Coleman situation, which we broke to you guys yesterday. This is what he said about the Keon Coleman situation and essentially what led to the team drafting Keon.
And a lot of people out there believe you have failed in the free agent market, and then obviously with the Keon Coleman signing, which hasn't worked out. How do you answer the fact that you have not given Josh a good enough wide receiver thus far?
Yeah, can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And, he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it. But I'm here to tell you the true story.
For some reason, he's taking heat over it, Sparky. For some reason. We there should be no reason to be taking heat over this at all. Not the fact that you've drafted two Pro Bowlers outside of Josh Allen in your 8 years of being there out of 58 draft picks. 2. Now let's go to the other part of this, which was Mr. Pegula explaining what led to the firing of Coach Sean McDermott and what he saw post-game, which is what compelled him to make the change. Let's hear from Mr. Pegula.
My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver. I want to take you in the locker room after that game. I looked around. First thing I noticed was our quarterback with his head down, crying. I looked at all the other players. I looked at their faces and our coaches. I walked over to Josh. He didn't even acknowledge I was there. First thing I said to him, I said, "That was a catch." We all know what I'm talking about. He didn't acknowledge me. He just sat there sobbing. He was listless. He had given everything he had, and looking around, so did all the other players on the team. I saw the pain in Josh's face at his presser, and I felt his pain. I know we can
Oh.
do better, and I know we will get better.
So I always give credit where credit is due when it comes to being empathetic to other people. Okay. And that's what he's trying to be. I'm not going to sit here and make this seem like he's being not empathetic, because that's exactly what he saw. He saw the pain on the team's face and he picked someone to blame. And he picked Sean. Why? Because Sean was pointing the finger at his best buddy, Brandon. We all heard and saw the reports that a couple weeks ago, Sean McDermott walked up to ownership and said, "We don't have enough. You haven't given us enough. We're trying. We've done everything we can, but you're not giving us enough on the offensive side." They didn't like that answer. Is it just me, or does this kind of have shades of Oakland A's? This kind of has shades of do with what we give you, not we're going to help you get better. And honestly, the story that he just said, I walked through the locker room and Josh didn't even acknowledge I was there. Yeah, no kidding. They're heartbroken right now. They don't acknowledge the media is there. You really think they care that you're there? Yeah, I get it. You're the owner. I understand. Like, yeah, there's a lineage thing. But when you just got your butt handed to you in an overtime game that would have essentially got you into a Super Bowl, because let's be honest, if you went on to play the Patriots, you would have had a good shot to beat the Patriots and maybe get Joshua into his first big Super Bowl.
But like we've said, 4 months, they weren't built for a
No.
Super Bowl team.
No.
And I'm going to sadly agree with McDermott. And I'll say the same thing as, there is a place for owners and there's a place for coaching. And, you don't make those big decisions
on emotional
situations. So, I mean, it's just difficult to watch.
Who said that 2 weeks ago, Sparky?
Coach McDermott.
Coach McDermott. And who also said it? Coach Tomlin. Aaron Rodgers, guys who have been in the league for a while and don't make those decisions when you're emotional.
And what's wild is, I mean, the Bills are a competitive team.
Yes.
They have been since McDermott has been there.
Yes.
And they constantly make these weird changes after every year. I mean, I'll go back to Leslie Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, letting go of Frazier, which I think was the best defense that the Bills have had in the last 8 years. But like we just said, making those decisions off emotions. I mean, I didn't pull the clip, but I was watching Cam Newton on 4th and 1 podcast, and he laid it down, and I don't like Cam Newton, but I'll have to agree with him.
He's got some brilliant sports
He
takes,
said
though.
the same thing. He said, man, you look at the last 8 to 10 years, what McDermott's had. He's got a winning record. He's brought competitiveness to every Bills team since he's been there.
To a franchise that didn't have it before he showed up.
And he said, look at it, man. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Only 2 make the Super Bowl and only 1 wins it every year. And you're really going to cut ties with this guy, which I could understand in a managing situation, but you're going to cut ties with the guy that's winning games and getting the most out of what you've given him.
I just don't get it. I haven't gotten it from the get-go. I know there are people on both sides of this situation. We heard Cowherd and his guy from Fox yesterday. I found the audio I was originally going to use. We're not going to use it right now. It is what it is. It was the arena. That's what I was trying to think of. It was Richie Incognito and his boys that were talking about this and pretty much saying the same things we were. You didn't set them up for success. You had no draft picks that were showing up and actually showing out. And on top of that, let's get to the Keon Coleman situation real quick and highlight this. And Jeff Saturday said it perfectly on ESPN yesterday. If Keon Coleman was a Pro Bowler right now, Billy Beane would be screaming in this, or Billy, I'm sorry, I called him Billy again. Brandon Beane would be screaming in the streets right now. I drafted that guy. That's my guy. I was the one who had that idea. And what was the story out of the draft when we first heard of Keon Coleman? The story was that Josh really, really liked him. The coaching staff liked him, but the one who pushed for him the most was the GM. So now that's magically the other way around. And the owner is saying, well, I just want to set the record straight. Okay, well, that's one of his 58 draft picks there, sir. What about the other 55 that we haven't accounted for? Because I'll take the other 2 Pro Bowlers away. That's fine. We got James Cook and we got Deion Dawkins. Cool. What about the rest of them? Not a single one. In fact, one died on you on the field. Not saying that that should be taken against him at all, but just saying that's probably the biggest story that you've had from a Bills rookie in years. And that is not the kind of story you want. So at this point, I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not supposed to. They are having meetings with Brian Daboll, which cool.
Yeah, you're going back in circles.
Yeah, it's the only other coach that I can think of where you could pick it up where you left off. But the problem with that is you're going to absolutely abandon the run game. You will absolutely abandon what you had with James Cook this year.
And I think they digress. Personally,
I think so too.
I just don't think. I mean, I know Daboll is a great offensive-minded coach, and he's a great coordinator. But I just don't see this team, especially with all the drama going around, clouding the Buffalo thing. And when I knew McDermott was going to get canned, it was before all these other guys were getting hired, and I'm like, hey, this could be a perfect destination for one of these guys looking for a job. And the more I think about it now, after the Bill owner came out and talked, I'm like, man, maybe this is the scariest one you stay away from.
I'm glad you brought that up because that has been in the back of my mind as well. I've been waiting to hear from some people within the organization to really figure that out. Because when we heard from Mr. Biscotti last week about the Ravens, everybody actually felt kind of better about where the Ravens were heading. True. Was he cocky? Absolutely. Did he give us some great audio clips? 100%. Cannot wait for the next time this man is in front of a microphone. Cannot wait. But you left that presser feeling kind of confident that this is the guy that's going to find the next one. He found that one, so he's going to find the next one. I didn't stop watching the Bills presser and feel that way about the Bills. And even more so, it kind of made me feel like as a coach, maybe I don't want this job.
Yeah, stay away.
Because if the front office is going to be like this, and it's definitely going to be buddy against you, how are you supposed to win in that situation? We were just talking about how Sean McDermott turned this team around into literally the most winningest regular season franchise, at least, in his 8 years there. And you're just going to uproot that and blame him for everything. Say he's the reason. He's why we can't make it to the Super Bowl. Like, come on, guys.
I mean, personally, if I was the owner and I'm going to let somebody like a winning coach like McDermott go, I'm cleaning house.
Dude,
everyone's gone.
That's what everybody
and
keeps saying.
Now you're keeping Bean, which means your list of, desirable coaches that are going to come here. It's got to be in the Bean pack. It's got to be in that camp that has worked with him. So it only cuts down to Daboll or Brady.
And at this point, I don't know if Brady's going to be staying because Brady's getting better offers from other teams.
I would run, and I would run quick.
I would too, unless he really does just like the idea of running this back with Josh and the crew. And maybe he does, because again, the roster itself at least makes it enticing. Coaching Josh Allen in the NFL sounds like the best job in football. Now, granted, so does coaching the Baltimore Ravens. But at this point, if you're a guy who's been there, if you're a guy who knows, at least I have the ear of the guys because they could trust me because I've been here for a while, maybe it is the smarter idea to go with a guy like Brian or Brady because you're just not going to have that with any other coach. And again, I highlight this as I highlighted yesterday. Is there even any other coach out there that's better than McDermott? No. You're not going to get Tomlin to magically choose the Buffalo Bills. So no, there is not. You did this way too late. John Harbaugh had already chosen his destination. And I know a lot of Buffalo fans are absolutely upset about that because they thought, oh, we could have had Harbaugh. It's like, if you were going to do this, at least know there's somebody on the other end that was going to be the coach that got you to the over the hump.
Have a plan.
Yeah, but it seems to me that they're just doing this off emotion and they're not thinking about it. And beyond that, the players themselves, we talked about this yesterday, the players being absolutely upset and wanting out. I figured Keon Coleman would be the first one on that list after the comments, to be honest with you. If I'm Keon, I'm looking at my agent saying, what do we got to do to get me out of here?
Right?
What do we got
I
to
mean,
do to get me out?
why am I the circle on this?
Right.
I
Like,
mean,
why am I the bust? The other 7 years of first round draft picks, and I'm the bust. Now, granted, I'm not the best one. Don't get me wrong. He's not. He's not the
sure
best
the
wide
hell is it not
receiver.
the worst one either.
No. And to be honest, to sit there and blame the coaching staff for his drafting is wild to me. It really is. To sit there and blame the guys that just got fired because you know they can't defend themselves, that is so low. The GM's job is to draft people. The coaching staff has a say in it, but ultimately the one guy outside of the owner that has say in who gets drafted is the general manager. So no, I don't care if Brandon Beane's dead grandpa came down from heaven and told him, draft Keon Coleman. I don't care. It was your decision. At the end of the day, it was your decision. Nobody else's.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why it's pointed out to Keon. What about the other 7.5 years, or the 50+ draft picks you mentioned in the beginning?
Yes.
I mean,
Well, we don't highlight those. It's
not-
all about
what about the
Keon.
other 55?
And then again, to blame the outcome of the Denver game as why you fired McDermott. No, it wasn't. You had this in the back of your head for months, and you know you did.
If we knew it,
Yes.
you can't tell me the owners didn't.
That's
They
what I'm
just
saying.
randomly thought, oh, Josh Allen's crying. We got to fire the coach.
You heard all of the pundits talking about it. You saw the writing on the wall. I would have respected you more if you came out and said, look, man, we just didn't think he was the guy anymore. We just didn't think he was the guy that was going to get us to a Super Bowl. I would respect you more if you said that, because at least you're being honest with the media.
Yeah, cut the crap.
But to sit there and say, no, I did this because my quarterback was clearly emotionally destroyed after the game and he was crying at the presser. I had to do something. I had to be the savior. Stop it. You did it because you think that you could find a better coach, and that's a fair statement. Just say it. Now, are you wrong? Absolutely, you're wrong. But at least you be telling the truth. At least at the end of the day, everybody could look at you and say, well, at least we knew that.
Yeah, I would have respected if he came out and said, hey, the job was to get us to the Super Bowl. He got us close. He got us close. We feel like we're digressing. I don't think the team is getting any better.
Right.
And, this was the biggest opportunity with the Chiefs, the Ravens, everybody crap in the bed. This was our opportunity, and we lost.
This seems to me like a 70-year-old owner that, just like Jerry Jones, desperately wants that ring before he goes and just can't, for some reason, come to terms with the idea that Brandon Beane might be connected to the reason why this hasn't worked out. Again, that's fine. If you want to continue with Brandon, he better have a golden, and I mean golden draft here in a couple months, and better pick up every bit of free agents that you need to turn this team around in a year.
Ain't got no money.
No, you don't. And guess whose decisions led to that? Oh yeah, Brandon Beane,
Billy Boy.
I can't get over this, dude. I just can't. But again, this is the Buffalo Bills. As I said yesterday, everybody is really just dealing with the recency bias, including myself, because again, Sean McDermott came in and made you the most winningest regular season franchise in the last decade. And yet, the Buffalo Bills are sitting here acting as if they're the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Patriots and are multiple-time Super Bowl champions and know what they're doing. Let's take a break. Let's talk about the Patriots owner on the other side, who made an interesting comment on a radio show the other day about the push for 18 games in the NFL, which we all knew was coming, but he also has an idea when it comes to the European games as well, and how everybody can get in on that action. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back, and good morning. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We're also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can join us every single day as the show goes on when we're live. You can also go back to our YouTube channel, though, at any point in time and watch all of our older episodes, all of our old interviews. We just talked to David Keckner from The Office last Friday before his show here in Bakersfield. That was entertaining. Plus, I noticed that our interview with Cactus Tate has reached over 1,000 views on YouTube too.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. She
Yeah.
really is. We gotta try to get her back on.
I know she's
been
starting
super
another
busy.
tour, and I'm trying to get her when she hits California. But
Absolutely.
we'll have the owner of the comedy club, The Well, coming in tomorrow, as well as Anthony today.
Loved seeing the ribbon cutting on the news too, and from Danny Hill's Instagram too, which I do follow. He's fantastic and very funny. But the inside of this place looks nice.
And
I
get your
like it a
tickets. The
lot.
grand opening of the basement venue is next Saturday with Monty Byram.
I'm gonna have
and
to ask him though. Do those lights change color, or are they purple all the time?
at the
At
well.
the well on the walls.
Yeah.
No, I
That's a
like
good
the
question.
ambiance lighting, but it's like
It's huge,
if you
man.
could change the colors on those things, dude, could you
That thing is
imagine?
huge.
That is, it really is. It used to be the old Fish Lips building for those of you who are local, and they pulled out the bar as Mr. Betts has told us multiple times here on the show, but they are finally done. It was really cool to see the package. You can go to KGET and see the quick little scan they show you of the interior and how much more room you're going to have to actually enjoy these comedians. You're not going to have to sit next to your ex anymore. You can actually see her from across the room as you both laugh and, just ignore that the other one's there. But let's talk a little more football because Robert Kraft came out just the other day and honestly made it pretty interesting, in my opinion, on this entire push for 18 games. We kind of knew this was coming. Roger Goodell has gone on multiple sports shows and said that he wants to essentially line this up where we would get the day off after Super Bowl due to President's Day. So to do that, you would add, I think, 1 or 2 more weeks to the season, which means we would get an 18th game plus an extra bye week for most of these guys. This would also probably mean that the preseason gets cut down a little bit. So we'll see how that ends up helping and or hurting them.
Talking about cutting to 2 and every team having an international game. But the more interesting thing I have is I believe it'll be 20 weeks.
Is it going to be 20 straight
and
weeks?
I want to know if it's going to start earlier or later.
I'm pretty sure it would have to start at least a week later. But again, I can't really look at the dates very well in my own head. I would have to actually look at a calendar.
Well, usually it's the Labor Day weekend
right
that kicks off afterwards. So I'm wondering if it's going to go
Labor Day
later
weekend
into
or President's
February.
Day?
It's Labor Day.
Labor Day. I apologize. I said
But I'm
President's Day.
wondering if it'll go because I know they're trying to line it up where it'll be closer to Valentine's Day for the Super Bowl.
Which honestly would ruin a lot of couples' lives.
Another way to make more money. But
100%. But didn't the Super Bowl land on Valentine's Day one year?
I'm not sure.
It was a couple years ago. I can't remember. But at this point, yes, they're extending the season to line it up perfectly where we would get that Monday off after Super Bowl, which everybody has been crying for years. All fans have wanted this for God knows how long, and I'm one of them. I'm 100% one of them.
I would love it.
It just makes more sense to me that we just take the day off afterwards. Like, why would you not take the day off after Super Bowl? Most people call out anyway because you're too drunk or you're too hungover to go into work. So just give us the day off. But Robert Kraft went onto a radio show. Here's what he had to say about the extension. It sounds like he is really one of the biggest pieces of the spearhead that's trying to push this forward.
I want to tell you guys, though, we're going to push like the Dickens now to make international more important with us. Every team will go to 18-2, and eliminate one of the preseason games. And every team every year will play one game overseas. And part of the reason is so we can continue to grow the cap and keep our labor happy, because we're sort of getting near the top here, with the coverage. 93 of the top 100 programs on television are NFL games.
Right.
think about that. It's really amazing. And you look at the size of our crowds versus the other sports, and it's really, and we had that Amazon game on Thursday a couple of weeks ago. 31 million people streamed. And so as long as we can keep growing revenue, we can keep long-term labor peace.
That Amazon game that he referenced from a couple weeks ago was the most streamed thing on Amazon, by the way. What he's trying to spear home here is the fact that the NFL is king on television throughout, no matter what team is playing. And that's because of the devout fan bases that are calling for this change and calling for more football. They're going to use that as reasoning for why these players should add an extra game to their season, though.
Laborers.
Exactly. More than likely, the players are probably going to try to push back on this because, like I said, well, more about the NCAA than I have about the NFL. But yes, as fans, more football is always better. Always better. We want more games, 100%. But a lot of these players are seeing that as an extra opportunity to sacrifice their body even more, which is why I think that we're going to see the death of the preseason, although that is going to be detrimental to the NFL, in my opinion. But I do think we're going to see the death of the preseason solely so they can make that a thing and just transfer that game over as the 18th game rather than have them have 3 preseason games as well. Do you think that's going to work out, though? Because most of these starters that would be sacrificing their body really don't play in the preseason.
What I've read just from the NFLPA and players, whether it's the Jim Rome show, whether it's, any of these big sports shows,
Right,
is 3 things. One, they want more padded practices.
yes, which they need.
2, they want to get rid of the Thursday night football games because it's worse on their bodies than any of it.
Yeah.
And 3 is a lot of them want to get rid of the international games, and if that is not in the cards, which we all know is not in the cards because it's a money-making thing.
Yeah.
And that the last thing is the more safety
Yes. And
on these trips.
that is a big thing too. You got to be able to, at least if you're going overseas, you have to be able to protect these guys a little bit more and allow them to go earlier, get acclimated to the time zones and stuff.
And one more thing that I heard on Eisen's show yesterday is the number one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is they want lifetime health insurance.
Yes, I have heard
after
this,
they
and
retire.
that could be incredibly expensive.
And they said, if we don't get a pay bump, put it into
Yes.
our health insurance for life.
That actually might be a fair trade. Instead of bumping up their contracts even more and making these contracts upwards of 400 million or whatever.
You're calling them laborers.
Yeah, I call them laborers. It's absolutely wild. But
What?
yeah, and I also have to apologize to you to make you have to sit down and listen to 2 of your most hated rivals owners in a 30-minute span. But I'm proud of you for sitting through that, Sparky. I'm very proud of you. No, but this entire situation, maybe that is the route to go. You're going to have to make some deals here. It's much like the baseball situation. If you're going to make a salary cap and a salary floor, you're going to have to give a lot of incentives to these players to be able to say yes to that and the changes within their work. You know what I mean? Like now, a lifetime health insurance, although sounds very, very nice, that is incredibly lucrative. And this isn't just health insurance for them. I believe this extends to family as well, or at least immediate family, their family members, but not like, grandma and grandpa. I don't think get covered by the NFL. But
I'm sure they could work out some trade for half that.
I'm sure. And well, you just
Some
heard
Super Bowl commercials.
You just heard Robert Kraft say it though. The NFL is king on 93 out of 100 of the biggest television broadcasts of all time. They're making the money to be able to do this. Let's be honest. If the owners all put a surplus together every single year, I think you could pull off at least the health insurance. At the very least, the health insurance part of it. And the padded practices need to happen. That absolutely needs to happen. We've talked about that with coaches. We've talked about that with athletes. When they started dwindling down on how often you can do the padded practices, it really does change how well your body can really get used to the hits. And you need to be able to withstand those hits throughout the entirety of the season. So I think more padded practices with maybe less reps as, vigorous hits come, maybe just a little more contact and form tackling will help out. But I think more padded practices in general, that has to happen. It just has to, because that I think directly correlates to the health of a lot of these players.
And I mean, this time last year, we were talking about the big news was we got to get rid of the tush push. We got to get rid of the tush push. Now the big one is, what are we going to do with pass interferences?
Yes. So I let's play this bite from the Barstool guys real quick. They brought up a really interesting point that got my head spiraling on this entire thing. But they're talking about making PI a spot foul again. Instead of having it be just 15 yards straight up, pass interference is too important of a penalty on too important of plays to really not be a on the spot foul.
It is not already.
No. Or I'm sorry, I think they're talking about it in the maybe it's in the college game. One of the games it's not an on
in
the
college.
spot. And so they're talking about changing it overall. And just maybe I'm mixing the two right now, but they're trying
college
to
is
change
15.
it to on the spot or not on the spot fouls. But let's play the Barstool guys real quick, because this is the bite that really got my head wrapping around this entire topic.
Pass interference is too final in the NFL. It's too punitive. There's just no 53 yards of pass interference penalties on the game-clinching drive of a game that's 30-30 in overtime. And if you looked around the league, I thought this weekend, if you looked around the league, I don't know if it was a memo that went out. I felt like they were letting them play. Hand fighting. There was a lot of could-be ticky-tack pass interference calls that weren't called in that Bears game, that Rams game, that weren't called in other games. And then they didn't call it for much of that game. And then all of a sudden, in the last drive, bam, the flags come out. Denver gets walked
The
out.
second one was as textbook of pass interference as it gets. So, I mean, you have to call that. I hate the idea that, like, the refs should let him play, because the refs did let him play and they committed a penalty. And you have to call it. To your point, like, I get, as a neutral fan watching the game, you're disappointed that
it ends like that.
I totally agree.
I
We said
agree with
that the other day. I said, I mean, if you're going to let him play, let him play. But that second one, he pretty much tackled him.
No, absolutely. But that's what kind of they're talking about is, if we're going to let him play, just let it go. But the thing that I was reading, it must not have been the Barstool guys, but the argument that I was reading was the change that needs to happen with the actual penalty itself to make it so this doesn't happen anymore. And I think that you're right, Sparky. I think that they're wanting to make it more, instead of spot of, it makes it a 15-yard penalty. Because when you're at, like they just said, at the end of a game, let's say Caleb Williams at the end of that game chucks it up to Cole Kmet, and there's a PI call that's called, and it just puts the ball back at the 1. That would have absolutely derailed the entirety of the momentum for Chicago, changing that game tremendously. And that's kind of what they're talking about here, especially when it came to the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos game. When you're seeing no calls throughout the entirety of the game, and then the last drive, now all we're getting is flag.
Mm-hmm. Don't let flags decide the game.
No. So we need to change it, or at least they're thinking they need to change it to a 15-yarder. So that way we don't see Josh Allen drops back, throws it 50 yards down the field with 10 seconds left, and flag gets thrown. Ball's now right there for a field goal, and the game just went in a completely different direction.
Well, the other option, which I've heard, is, which I'm not sold on, but allowing pass interference calls to be challenged.
That needs to happen, honestly, because again, it's too key of a play most of the time, and it comes down to, or too many games have come down to bad PI calls or non-PI calls. But
we've seen both sides of it.
Where does the line really lay? Do we sit there and put it down as it's only going to be able to be reviewed if it's called? Or can you really review any play,
right,
for pass interference? Because it's kind of like holding. A lot of the time, there's pass interference on almost every play.
Just like holding, yeah.
Exactly. And it could go either way. That's what the hand fighting is between the corner and the wide receiver. If you really want to get technical, a lot of the times the wide receivers get away with murder.
Oh yes.
So,
and my number, or there's 2 of them, but I really dislike is the screens that they don't call, the pickups, where tight ends or receivers will do cross paths and pick off the defender, which is almost the most difficult thing to get away from. But when they're actually holding them, that's when you have to call them. And the second one is, how many damn challenges are you going to give these teams? Because, getting to a half and you lose one, I'm just saying, if you would have to clean it up.
Yes.
Either you can challenge a call that was called, but if you open up the door of challenging something that wasn't called, then
every play can be reviewed.
Getting into some serious
and
stuff.
that's where it's gonna get really just dumb for people, because now you're going to be extending the game tremendously. Because if I'm a head coach and they just scored a game-winning touchdown, I'm throwing the challenge play, just saying, I think there was PI on that play.
Somebody was held.
Somebody was held. Somebody was this. Yeah, exactly. So where does the line really lay in the sand at this point? I like the idea of being able to review some flags. Most flags, I think you got to leave. But like, I think certain holding calls can be reviewed. I think certain PI calls can get reviewed. It's not a bad move, in my opinion, to make it reviewable. But it's like you're saying, though, if we make it where we can review any play,
yeah, I don't think
that's
that'll
dangerous.
ever happen.
That's way too much leeway for people to be able to exploit.
You might as well just go back to AI then. Just go to AI and get the refs off the field.
And if that's going to be the entire thing, we're going to have robotic umpires throughout all of sports, which I don't think people want. I really don't. I think ABS is going to be all we need when it comes to robotic umpires in sports. Let's take a break real quick. On the other side, we'll get to some baseball news. Cody Bellinger signed with the Yankees, a 5-year deal to extend his stay there in New York.
And we got a couple of texts we can get over to.
Sweet. Let's get into those as well. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We said it before the break, but the Yankees have finally inked the deal with Cody Bellinger, keeping him around for at least the next couple of years. It's a 5-year deal, $162.5 million. That also includes an opt-out after the second and third season with a $20 million signing bonus and a full no-trade clause. Damn. I love Cody, don't get me wrong. But dang. This boy hasn't been nearly as good as that 1 year with the Dodgers, but I mean, $162 million, that's basically how baseball rolls these days. Let's be honest. And when we get back from the break, I cannot wait to talk to our guy, Anthony Jauregui. But in between our guests, we got to get into this whole Jeanie Buss situation with the Lakers and LeBron James, because apparently she's denying that there's really any major frustrations between him and her. But there have been reports that said that, well, at least the $10 billion sale of the Lakers had a lot to do with there's a lot of in-family fighting between the Busses. And essentially, LeBron and Clutch Sports' control or impact on the franchise. Plus, for you wrestling fans, I know you guys saw this, but longtime WWE wrestler Tommaso Ciampa has announced yesterday that he will be leaving the company, or at least that at the end of his contract, he will most likely not be renewed with the company, and will most likely be leaving his tag team partner of Johnny Gargano and DIY as he tries to go find a different spot in AEW and TNA. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit too before we get out of here. But you said we got some text messages, my friend?
Yes. The first one says the New York Mets are ruining baseball. Love Dodger fan.
Oh man, you know what? I can get on board with this. Sure. The New York Mets are ruining baseball. Let's blame the Mets. I'm all for blaming the Mets. Why not? Who likes the Mets?
The next one says, I bet you guys are right when it comes to a baseball lockout. And the Dodgers will probably grab 2 more All-Stars during the offseason because my Blue Jays got too close of stealing that World Series.
And your Blue Jays lost Bo Bichette, which when I heard that was a gut punch to the Philadelphia Phillies too, I laughed. I was like, although it would have been really nice to have Bo on the lineup, really? A gut punch? I think we're okay. I don't think we're that hurting for a shortstop or a second baseman right now. We got our guy. We got plenty of talent in that area. So I don't think we're that hurting.
And you can always call or text in to 661-842-2000. The last one says, I know my Browns are the laughing stock of the league, but I wish they'd snag someone like Dion or even surprise everyone and hire Brian DeBall to be the coach next season. I think they'd be able to get the most out of Shador.
That is going to be the key question, though, is if they want to get the most out of Shador, because the camp really has not had any comments on who will be the quarterback going forward. We're still hearing stories of the possibility of Deshaun Watson being the starter next year.
That's what the owner's saying.
And well, the owner is, God, that family. I know when they brought in Kareem Hunt and they had the entire situation of, we're the place where people get second chances. We're the place where we want our guys to come and know that they can really start over here. Okay. I love that people are trying to be empathetic, but sometimes you're just doing it at the wrong time. You really are. So I for all intents and purposes, who knows? Maybe he is the guy. Maybe that is the answer. And Deshaun Watson comes back as the Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans back in, what year was it, Sparky? At this point, 2020,
forever,
2019. I can't even remember. But at this point, I just don't know if Cleveland even knows what their plan is. I don't think it's Dion, though. As much as a lot of people would like to see Dion go and coach his son again, I don't think Dion wants to do that.
No.
I think that the entire idea was to let the boys fly as professionals and let them do what they need to. To be honest, I think he's just hoping Shiloh finds a job within the NFL. Stop it. I meant within the NFL. Come on now. What do you want to get into, my friend, before we get to our final break and get into our guests here? Because, there's a ton
I did see
hit.
The Falcons offensive coordinator finally found a job.
Yep, Tommy Rees. It's the guy I kind of assumed was going to be coming over with Stefanski, former Notre Dame offensive coordinator. head coach or offensive coordinator. I can't remember exactly what he was at Notre Dame. He was there for a couple years, has been the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns for the last couple years as well. I highlighted this when you asked me, I believe it was on Tuesday after the deal was done. I'm not crazy about this. I'm really not.
And what do you think about Zach Robinson leaving? Going over and signing with Tampa?
Bye. Bye. That guy I didn't care for. I mean, again, I know he came from the McVay tree, but I don't think he ever really knew how to properly utilize everybody. He did a solid job at it, but I think there's still a level we can reach here that he just wasn't hitting. And that's why I'm just like, go for it. Go to Tampa. Go see what you can do with that wide receiver room because it is stacked. Don't get me wrong. So he's going to be completely fine over there in Tampa Bay. I just don't know if the Tommy Rees situation is going to be the right move for Atlanta either, because I think we're going to run into the same issues we ran in with Robinson. It's just not going to be that level that we need to get to in order to not only take the NFC South, but make it to the Super Bowl, because that is what everybody is shooting to do these days.
And we brought up Flores in the last couple of weeks, and he did extend his contract with the Vikings, but there is a little clause in that contract.
There is a caveat. It only holds up if he doesn't get a head coaching gig, obviously.
And we've had Raider fans saying he's coming to the Raiders. I personally think it'll be the Ravens or Steelers, but he could very well be missing out on a head coaching job this offseason.
I don't know why, but the longer teams wait, the more it makes me think it's not going to be Brian Flores. Because if it was, you would have signed him already. For in my mind, the longer you wait, the more it's waiting for a guy like Shula or a guy like Shieldhouse or, any of these guys. Maybe someone tries to lure McDaniels away from the Patriots. You know what I mean? That is what I think we're waiting on. I don't think a lot of these teams are waiting to sign the guys that are already available.
And I think the Flores camp announcing that he is staying with the Vikings unless
that
is kind of brought up, okay, well, maybe that they're fishing for this head coaching position.
But again, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, I think we're going to have to start really considering, is it because of him? Because it's just like the Eric Bieniemy thing. I don't know if these guys are just interviewing him just to interview him, or if he himself just doesn't like the fits, if he doesn't see it as a perfect fit for him. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe Brian's just got high expectations. And honestly, after his first run around as a head coach, I don't blame him. I really don't. He doesn't want the owner looking at him and saying, you have to play with this player anymore, or just it won't work out, especially with the type of coach and leader that this guy is. So maybe at the end of the day, it has to do with him. You know what I mean? So,
I just staying with the Vikings. I get it, but there is some great opportunity if he can't find a position. The Steelers and Ravens and even the Raiders, I think, are perfect fits for him. I would be shocked if he didn't get any of those positions.
I'd be shocked if the Steelers don't pick him up. I really would be. Raiders, I think, need more of a team builder, somebody that's going to be able to come in, really go to work in the free agency market.
He's got a history with Brady. I think he could be the guy that gives that team an attitude adjustment.
True.
But maybe he's too hard for them.
But again, I don't know if an attitude adjustment is really what you need, because if it was, you would have got that with Pete. Because if there's one guy that can change the culture in terms of attitude, it's usually Pete Carroll.
I just can't. Can you imagine Flores with Max Crosby?
No,
that would be intense.
Honestly, Max Crosby, Devin White. The things that this man could do with a defense like that, I don't know if I would really want to be anybody in the AFC West. I really won't. But let's take a break. Our guy Anthony Jauregui is on the other side. Plus, Bolt Brady will give you his picks of the week headed into the conference championships. This is the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back. Right. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Sorry, me and Anthony were in here talking about food and our favorite things and whatnot. And we got on the topic of Tony's Chili Verde pizza. Still one of the best things in this dang town.
Yeah,
You tried the one from Jerry's?
Oh, yes, I have.
Jerry's
Comparable. They
Chili
should fight. Jerry and Tony should fight for the best Chili Verde pizza.
What we need to do, Alejandro, I know you're listening. How do you have one? And if not, how have I not tried it yet?
He'll make whatever you have.
Exactly.
He'll make whatever you want.
You want to sit there and talk about a good Chili Verde pizza? I'm pretty sure Bakersfield Pizza Company could probably knock everybody out.
I would think so.
I would think so.
He already got my wife. He said, "You like those peanut butter and jelly wings? I'll make you a peanut butter and jelly old fashioned and a peanut butter and jelly pizza."
There's peanut butter and jelly wings.
Yes,
no
and they are
way.
good.
They are fantastic.
What's the name of the guy from Bakersfield Pizza Company?
Alejandro.
Hey Alejandro, I just want you to know that those garlic bombs, I'll do anything for those.
My son, dude, he's all over those things.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm not a garlic guy, so if I do
you.
too much, I mean, it is a garlic bomb.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
But he every time, make sure you get those garlic bombs.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you don't want to have anyone near you for the next day. Yeah.
Well, I'm married, so I don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
There you go, baby.
But you'll be sleeping on the couch. That's
Yeah.
fine. Comedian and good friend of ours, regular here on the show, Anthony Jauregui, back in the seat, sir. Good to see you.
What is up?
We're turning into the Green Bay Dolphins if you want to jump over.
Yeah, no
Hey,
kidding.
I saw that, dude. You got our vice president of operations and our defensive coordinator on your team now. I've been thinking about it all day, and I just want to say that I hope you have a great time with Mr. Jeff Halfley and Mr. Eric John Sullivan, or whatever his real name is.
It's
with
John
that
Eric
little-
Eric Sullivan.
Yeah,
It's got to
see-
be better than Joe Philbin. So
Yeah, honestly, that dude, he was there for like 50 years, 35 years, or if I don't know if
I'll
that's
take him, whatever.
What- So I gotta get your thoughts on this though, because I'm sure
Let's hear it.
Dan was dancing up and down the streets, and I'm gonna have to talk to him about this. But Caleb is a wizard.
Is he?
Did you watch the game?
I did. Is when you throw
he?
2 interceptions and he made that one
no,
play,
no.
guys. Remember, he
Absolutely,
made that
but-
one cool play
Come
before
on
that. I
now.
get you. It was a good play when he
I
threw the
knew it.
ball.
I knew we weren't gonna get him
Yeah,
to actually
no.
say anything nice.
Well, he's not going to give him flowers.
No,
I'm not saying give him flowers.
I'm not
but
gonna
at
give him
least say that
flowers.
pass was pretty.
I'm not gonna give him flowers. I'll give him some nail polish.
Right.
Maybelline. But I listen. That was a good play. I'll give him that. But I'm just more happy with the fact that no one remembers that play, and we're all talking about how the Bears lost,
Yes.
and that is ultimately
Well, but see,
the
here's the
goal.
thing. If the Bears would have won that game, though,
Oh,
could you
yeah.
imagine what the media would be
Oh,
saying?
I get a bunch of, like, I'm on Facebook, and you get these random Facebook groups that are like sports teams talk and like the news of the
Yeah,
NFC
stay away
North.
from him.
I don't even follow them, but they just see that
Right, hop up.
I linger a little longer on the post on Facebook, so they just keep repopulating, and everything in there was like, Caleb Williams is the best quarterback ever in the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers,
He's a
doesn't
wizard.
exi- like, no, he's not.
I've heard that
He's a
so many
wizard,
times.
He's,
You're a wizard.
I'm hearing more about, where the hell is DJ Moore?
oh yeah,
Because he's kind of ducked and hidden from the media ever since that.
It's weird, but okay. Am I the only one? And I don't mean to make this sound like I'm patting myself on the back, though. Beginning of the year, all I was harping on was the fact that DJ Moore and Caleb Williams didn't have the chemistry. Didn't have the chemistry. They finally find the chemistry in the last month, and now all I'm seeing in the media is Caleb Williams and the receivers need better chemistry.
yeah.
I'm like, was I a year ahead of everybody?
I mean,
you were calling it.
I heard receivers saying how he clearly didn't run his route.
Seriously,
well-
who I is it that, or did he run
The
or
wrong one.
The wrong one, or did Caleb?
Supposedly, the play call that he was supposed to make a dip for the safety to cut in before he went out, and he didn't make that cut, so the safety just sat there, and it was overthrown. So I'm
and
like,
honestly,
okay.
he can't defend himself now, because if you're ducking and dodging the media, you can't really.
He's got a
explain,
big target on
Well,
it.
he's never really been a guy to go to the media, though.
Well,
Like,
they were saying that he wasn't there for the post game, and then that post-season interview that they're all supposed to be there.
true.
His locker was cleaned out. He
but
was
how are you
gone.
the number one receiver and you're not talking to the media? We had her like wide receiver 4 doing interviews.
I wish they
like-
would stop talking to the media sometimes. I mean,
Honestly,
Tyreek
We were
Hill,
just
but
talking about that. Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's kind of showing. I mean, even the coaches came out and said, I really respect Caleb taking all the shots, but it wasn't all him. It's a team effort, blah, 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 blah. But it's funny because DJ Moore has just disappeared. While the quarterback, as the leader of the quarterback of the team, he's going to take most of the shots. So
And
I get it.
it's crazy how DJ Moore also was the guy that put the knife in the dagger of the Packers like once or twice this season already, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened to this dude? Like, where's that energy at now?
That's what I'm saying. The last month of the year, the two of them had found, finally, in my opinion, that number one wide receiver quarterback chemistry. Because again, the touchdown that you're referring to beat you guys was the first one that I saw. That I was like, oh, okay, now we're getting rolling. Now I could see you as a number one receiver. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe taking the responsibility for everything is difficult for him.
Even like Romo Dunze and Luther,
Burden.
that dude. They were dropping passes, or what's
Roman's
the deal?
been in and out for the last couple
He
months.
broke his foot or something, right? He was out. That was cool playing the Bears without Rome, but obviously it didn't work out for them.
Well, as a Packers fan, are you? I mean, what are your comments on keeping the head coach?
I feel like I think I mentioned this last week. Like, who else are we gonna get? I don't know if I want Joe Brady. I don't know if I want.
Well, now you could have Sean McDermott.
Yeah, well, Sean McDermott as a defensive coordinator. I heard all the Pegula talk earlier too. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Did you guys see his daughter, who's also a tennis player? I forget her first name, but Pegula.
So they are related.
Yeah, she's the daughter.
I knew I heard that last.
I forget. I don't have my, but I forget her name. But she's like a top 10 player. But she also wrote like she won her Australian Open like first match or exhibition or whatever, and wrote on the camera it was a catch or something like that. So the dad is definitely poisoning the family line here, just getting this line in here. How
this is just the fan base of the Buffalo Bills. Man.
Really? I thought they were cool. I thought they're cool and they donate to like charities when they concuss your quarterback.
They donate when they break your quarterback's neck. They'll be like, hey, it's a $2 recovery.
$50.
Get out of here.
Jessica Pegula is her name.
Bills
Jessica
Mafia
Pegula,
are the worst.
They are very, very devout. That I will give them.
I've never met a Bills fan in my entire life. I mean, we're in the West Coast, obviously, but I've never seen that kind of.
My brother's dating one.
I've met a couple, and they're disgusting people.
Well, they like talking ketchup. About someone from another country or something. It's like,
they like ketchup a lot.
Sick people.
Yeah. When you go through all those years with OJ and the losing of the Super Bowls and stuff, you kind of have to get sick.
Hey, I had a Bills fan just try to drill me yesterday, because I made the comment about Josh Allen being the next Jim Kelly, and they took that as a disgrace. Jim Kelly's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but
Jim Kelly, is he the one that didn't win the Super Bowl 3 times in a row?
Yeah. Yep. And he's like, well, Jim Kelly's the reason Dan Marino. I said, dude, calm down. You guys haven't had a Super Bowl at all. Just shut up and sit in the corner.
Well, and at this point, Josh is 0-7 in overtime games in the playoffs. Like,
that's not a good stat. I don't see that going to like 9-8. You're done.
The argument that we've kind of been talking about and considering is just the teams he's been going up against. Do you think he's just the beneficiary of a bad time? Because you look at who he's had to play: the Kansas City,
okay.
Kansas City,
I see.
The Bengals,
it's
the
like
Ravens.
All the teams. They bring it back to all the teams that had great teams, but were right in the center of the Brady era, or the same thing as all the teams that were good in the NBA, but those 6 to 7 years where the Bulls just took over.
I don't know, it just seems like it's kind of like in tennis right now. What's happening in the tennis world is a lot of the old pro players are saying about Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. It's like, well, you guys don't get to play any of the other hard players. Like, I went up against Djokovic and Federer, and you guys can just come in and win and do all this. I'm like, can we just take some accountability, and how about you be better? Like, Bills, yeah, I get it. The Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Then you've clearly etched yourself as that Jim Kelly-esque, this third level, this fourth tier. You're never going to make it, And is that the world you want to live in? I don't think so. You got to do something.
Well, because I think a lot of star players get a lot of grief for not winning in the playoffs, but certain ones don't, right? Because like we never hear TJ Watt's name, but TJ's never won a playoff game.
Well, he's a defensive player. I know
he's still one of the best defensive players to ever play in this generation, and he has never won a playoff game with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I get that, but I think that when you're talking about winning games, I think inherently you think offensive, scoring points,
true, but also you can put TJ Watt in that category because TJ has won games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ has gone crazy and won games that way.
Not like Myles Garrett-esque. I don't know. Like I've nenever played the Steelers and been like, oh, we got to go against TJ Watt this week. Like it's like, and I'm not like I'm not saying he's tough. Like I haven't like, and the only people I've been scared of are like Myles Garrett or Aaron Donald. Like I heard we were going against them. I was like, okay, like, and
Well,
they
it's like
didn't.
when
They
you see the live videos, the feeds that when they're mic'd up, and they're like, as long as we double and triple TJ Watt or you double triple Myles Garrett, we're good.
Yeah,
Just throw the ball to the left side and we'll stay away from him all game.
No, that's
I think that's
ridiculous.
more of a quarterback job. But going back to it, I mean, there's plenty of Hall of Fame players that never won Super Bowls. But I'm wondering why they're taking all the hate and on Coach McDermott. I'm not a Bills fan. I can care less what McDermott does.
AFC East,
Yeah, but I mean, putting all the blame on McDermott when personally, I mean, Josh Allen didn't have a great game. He didn't have the weapons that a lot of these other teams do, and even the teams that do have the weapons. I mean, no one's talking about Lamar Jackson and the guys that I'm surprised more that the Steelers, Ravens, and some of these bigger teams still don't have a head coach. And guys like Harbaugh that looked at the options, you're like, you know what? I have a young, talented team in New York. I think this is a better fit for me. And I think we're going to see that. I mean, we hit 10 teams that fired their head coaches this offseason. And I think it's going to be a regular thing. I personally
third of the league is going to be looking for head coaches.
Traditionally,
I can see it.
It's anywhere between 6 to 8 every single offseason.
Dude, I see like
more.
6, like 7-ish, but when I saw 10 and then they got rid of McDermott, I was like, holy crap, that's a
well, I mean, again, we had talked about them moving on from McDermott for a while, so that one didn't necessarily surprise me that they fired him. It was more the way they went about it, though.
Oh yeah, I think I mean, I listened earlier. They totally scapegoated Sean, and I hate how the owner came in and was like, I saw my quarterback crying, and they gave their all.
Right.
I hate that. I think the only reason we're talking about this so much, not us, but like the world specifically, is because Josh cried and Deion Dawkins, whatever his last name,
teared up.
They just cried, and it's like, I think that. Look, I'm all for showing emotion, being a man, vulnerable here and stuff. But like, when you're in the head of an organization or a position like that, you're not doing anything but inviting bad press to you crying, especially when you threw 4 interceptions in the first half. Was it the first half or the
no? That's CJ.
Right.
That was CJ's job.
Also,
he had 4 turnovers in the game.
Yeah.
But
so it's like, dude, like, I'd look at my quarterback and be like, what are you doing? Like, what?
And they live and die on that. The catch. It's a catch. It's a catch.
That is ridiculous. It's like, even McDermott came out and was like, I don't know, like the whole organization clearly were talking about that. I don't know. Like,
well, look, you can sit there and live and die that it was a catch all you want. Learn from Jerry Jones, though. The more you focus on it, the more it's just going to eat you alive. You're never going to make it back. Because if you're going to sit here and cry, say it was a catch, okay, no one cares at this point.
Yeah.
The game's already done.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks also could have held on to the ball.
Yeah.
But didn't. So who are you really going to blame? Is Sean to blame for that too?
What just right back, and it was an interception.
Yeah, and it was
an interception the other 3 times.
But that is why Josh was so upset, though. He was upset at himself because of the bad game he had. Sure. He was trying too hard. He was doing too much. He was fumbling too much. Like, that's why he was upset, not because Sean McDermott was yelling at him after the game because he was playing bad.
Sure.
That's why I just when the owner came out and did all that is just ridiculous.
That's what you get when you're a guy like Josh Allen. You have to put your whole team on your shoulders, and it's always not going to happen, just like you want it.
It reminded me a lot of the Aaron Rodgers, like the 2010s decade, where 3 or 4 times that they were in the playoffs, had a great team, and our defense was just butt. Like, they just they didn't help Rodgers at all. And that's how the Packers organization is they're kind of just like, well, we're more about the supporting cast, and we'll have you kind of the quarterback lead the way. In the last few years, it's changed with Micah Parsons and like signing other people, but the Josh Allen thing definitely reminds you of those Aaron Rodgers years where the quarterback is stellar, but the whole team lets him down. However, Josh did have 4 turnovers. So.
Well, as a Packers fan, and you could join us as Dolphin and Falcon fans sitting with watching TV.
Hey, we're on the recliner, baby.
So what do you think?
Popcorn.
Number one thing that the Green Bay Packers need to address this offseason?
Well, I mean, I was on the fence with the coach. We had talked about it earlier. There's no one else better. I feel like but he's in that Sean McDermott realm where this coach has been on the team for several years now. They've hit a wall in the playoffs, the championship game twice, 3, I don't know. So it's like, can this dude take you the next step? I don't know, man. I don't know, but that's not a question for me. It doesn't matter because he's already signed, you know. But
Yeah.
what do we need for the next season? Obviously a good defensive coordinator. I saw we're interviewing Jonathan Gannon. I don't know if you guys know who Jonathan Gannon is, but he's that guy that went viral for the clip from the Arizona Cardinals when he was coaching. He was like leading the energy, like getting everyone pumped. He's like, "Hey, do you have a fire in your gut? Did you drive here today? Did you have fire in your gut when you drove here today?" And the camera, it's like a Hard Knocks thing. It's really awkward. It's like, I really don't want another awkward white guy coaching in the Packers. I want some cool black dude with some swag who knows how to run defenses. I'm tired of these like silly little white guys that Matt LaFleur brings in with no vibe, no aura. I want some cool Brian Flores type dude in here that I know has played before. Has he played? Did he play football?
I don't think so.
No.
Either way, obviously. But Jonathan Gannon, I don't know. I looked at him and I don't get excited for him. I want some cool dude in there with some spunk and some swag. Jeff Hafley was good. You guys got a good one in the Dolphins, bro. He has great.
That's what my next question is. What do you think?
He has great press conferences. When I would skip the offensive coordinator and Rich Pisaccia's special teams coordinator conferences. I would just listen to Jeff Hafley because he knows how to talk, and I think that's what the fan base liked. Like, he was cool. He had good energy. He's like, I care about these players. Like,
so no more stuttering crap from McDaniel?
No, this dude is very like, in it, and like it doesn't look like he just hit the vape.
Well, that's how I feel. That's how I felt with the new GM. Because when I heard the interviews with the Dolphins, I was like, all right, this guy knows his football.
Yeah.
And he's talking like he seems like a younger guy that understands football.
Yeah.
And he wants to do what Green Bay does is they build their young talent, not try to hit the waiver wire and try to build a team.
Yeah, no, you're gonna see maybe that first couple years is gonna be not too good, but this like yeah, maybe it'll be another but I think ultimately what the Packers bring is this like old school mentality of like, we're gonna build the roster, not a lot of this like, hey, we're gonna go get the biggest player at free agency, sign him to 4 years or whatever. I know we just did that with Micah Parsons.
Miami has been doing it for 25 years.
Right.
I mean, we've lived through the Mike Wallace, the Brandon Marshalls, the Tyreek Hills. I mean, I'm like, okay, can we draft? I know we've done it with, guys like Waddle, but my other question, the last one between the Packers and Dolphins, before I buy you a Miami Packers hat,
Cheese and Dolphins.
Malik Willis.
Oh yeah.
I know the big talk in Miami is, okay, we're going to go hard after Malik Willis and throw out a quarterback competition between him and Ewers, and hopefully Tua's gone by then. But I mean, from what you've seen from Malik Willis, do you think he has it?
I think Malik had that benefit of like when the backup quarterback goes into a game and the defense wasn't preparing for that style, and they get caught up on like, oh, we didn't expect a mobile quarterback like this. What are we doing? And that happened a lot when Malik Willis came in. He held his own though. I mean, I feel like he's definitely a little seasoned, but can we see him do a full act as the starting quarterback of the entire season? I mean,
when a defense has time to prepare for.
So exactly, it's like, does he have that skill set that's really that crazy, or when he's on the run, is he going to get a little hand, like, start throwing the ball crazy? I don't know. Like, I give him the benefit of the doubt, and I hope that he does well because he did well for us, like starting those games, But I just think it would be funny if that's the third person you guys poach from the Packers. It's like, all right, who
I don't think we're done.
That's a traditional thing,
100%.
Yeah, they'll be grabbing the defensive line coach. They'll be grabbing everybody.
You're definitely going to get like some free agents for sure.
Oh yeah,
free agents for sure. So
it'll be third string centers. They'll become our first starter next year.
You'll get some old you'll get some old defensive back.
As long as he's better than Joe Philbin was, I'll be happy. That's all I'll say. Because I was having deja vu when I read it. I was like, oh dude, not again.
Well, everybody's got to go through those learning curves every so often.
But the big news, I mean, we've been looking forward to this for 9-10 months.
Yep.
The Well Comedy Club is officially open tomorrow with the Hans Kim show. He'll be here 2 nights, right?
Yes, 2 nights, 4 shows, Friday and Saturday.
Any big shows? I know I've looked at the calendar. I've got my tickets for the first show. The second show is 10 o'clock. I'll be snoring by then. It'll be a long day tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to, the Well Comedy Club. It is downtown in the old Fish Lips building. Anything you want to throw out that you're looking forward to as a comedian / security?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking out. I'm so excited to be telling homeless people to shoo outside the front of
That's
the
what you
building.
guys are gonna run into a lot.
Yeah, I was parking my car yesterday. This dude in a wheelchair was just screaming at me, and I was like, "What?" I you know, I I just prayed for him and kept walking. I don't know what to do.
That's what you have to do.
That's what you got to do, man. So no, I mean, I'm really excited about being downtown and being in the vicinity of other places. As you know, if you don't know, on White Lane, it was just kind of like on a strip mall, and across the street were houses. So there's not really much to do afterward. There's not a vibe. There's not a thing, you know. So it's cool to be downtown now in the center of like art and entertainment and
The parking garage right across
and
the
a
street.
parking garage across the street that charges, I think, cheap $1 or
Yeah, it
something
was
like
like
that.
$1.
It's not some LA parking, you know. When you go to LA, on top of going to the Comedy Store, you'll pay $15 to some Guatemalan on Zelle and have them park your car. And here, you know, we have another Guatemalan. His name's Eddie Molina. He was here on a Monday, but he won't park your car, but he will check you in. No, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm really excited. You guys were talking about the purple lights earlier. They stay purple.
They stay purple?
I think they changed. There's LED capability, but for the vibe and the ambiance in the room, it's a whole new aesthetic, a new vibe, I guess, like, to put it in simpler terms. And I think you guys were mentioning the Danny Hill thing. He shot a video, and the news had the video. It's a different, like, and I can't wait for just it to be packed in there and a show to be going on, you know, because I haven't had that yet. But all the vibe in there, the lights, everything is just going to be a whole new experience. You're going to be like, I had mentioned it before, you're going to walk in there and think, man, are we in Bakersfield right now? Where are we? Like, you
Place looks huge.
yeah, you're gonna go out and like, oh, it's 18th Street. Here I am. Like, it's huge. It is pretty big. And admittedly, I never went into Fish Lips or these other old businesses.
Yeah.
But I saw people leaving in tears, like, at the ribbon cutting, because of how many changes they've made to the building, and a lot of people have memories there. So
Oh yeah.
it's completely different. It's kind of like when we came in and took over B Riders. Like, a lot of people were like, "Hey, where are the pool tables? Where are the TVs?" And
Why can't I shoot up in the corner anymore?
exactly. Well, you could. You had to talk to me, but
You gotta go to the back bathroom.
Yeah. The back bathroom. So the Guatemalan hangs out.
I mean, I remember the Fish Lips. We did several shows out at Fish Lips, and a big
Yeah.
shout out to Shauna, who's over at Two Goats and a Goose.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, having both buildings, because I know after Fish Lips, they kind of split the businesses, and it was like Boss Pizza and Texas 28 for a little bit. So, you know, we'll have bets in tomorrow. So if you're going to bitch and complain, you wait till tomorrow, because I'll throw that all on him. But, you know, I'm going to a Hans Kim show. I just recently found Hans Kim. I know I've been late to the Kill Tony show, and now I've been binge watching all of them. But I mean, what kind of comedy does Hans Kim bring? And how do we get tickets?
So Hans Kim brings, like, I'd say definitely more like a new age style, you know, of comedy. And I think it's a lot more short form jokes, little bits, jokes here and there, as opposed to someone who's maybe like a long form storyteller, you know. So Hans Kim got his popularity on this Kill Tony show. And if you don't know Kill Tony, essentially it's like an open mic that's recorded, and there's a panel that kind of
like an interview in a way.
Yeah, that they roast and interview you after you do your 1 minute of performing. So Hans Kim basically got started as being the one of the first regulars on this show. So he would weekly go on with the new minute of material. So that's what you're going to see, a lot of like maybe shorter form jokes, maybe not 1 minutes, but like, think of that. Like, so he's been on the show a lot, and I'd say it's definitely like a new age style of comedy, maybe a little dirty, a little dark at times, definitely a little dark at times, but either way, it's going to be a good show, and you can get tickets at theworldcomedyclub.com. I'll be there all weekend working. I'm thinking of performing, but
that's what my next question is. Any chance when we're going to be able to get you on stage?
Tonight I'm doing a small little spot on like this like private little like soft opening. We're doing like a training session, you know, type thing. But I don't know, man. Dan's keeping it close to the vest. I'm gonna be working there, so randomly Dan will just ask the door guys and say, hey, who's doing a spot? Or like he'll ask me to like who should get the spot tonight. So you can watch me or maybe any of the other door guys at any of these shows that you pull up to. So it's going to be, if you don't know who Hans Kim is and you don't want to go to a movie or don't want to do something different, come to the comedy show and you'll have a good time, because if you don't know the opener, you will know him after the show. And if you don't know the headliner, Hans Kim, you will after the show, and it'll be a good time. Tickets are at thewellcomedyclub.com.
And Danny said there's upwards of 250 seats. Is that true? Do you know how many you guys
I've
can
never
fit in there?
counted, but I think it's probably like around 200.
200?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's comparable to the other club, just a little bigger. You'll see it. And they're still adding things, and they're still going to be changing things and adding things and tweaking things. The good tweak for the next 3 months. So,
well, my next question is food. So I'm taking the wife out. It's our anniversary for this, and don't tell Bets because I do not want a target on my face when I do that.
I was gonna laugh at you about that too when you said, "Oh yeah, 10 o'clock, I'll be at home asleep." No, you won't. You know dang well that Dan's keeping you in that place.
You never know.
You are not leaving at 10.
I'm pumped because the well owns a big part of my heart. Meeting Dan Betts and introducing him with my buddy that was running the well when it wasn't a comedy club, and seeing how the growth of having a full-time comedy place here in town, and now it is really back, and I'm pumped. But food, should I take the wife out to eat first, or should we get some food there? I know last time she was always about the burger, the fish and chips.
Okay, so great question. We have a brand new menu, not with completely revamped, but there's some additions to what we originally had. So I think Dan will talk more about it tomorrow. But we have those fish and chips still.
He brought that one up.
Yeah, we have the wings, and there's a couple of new items. I don't want to give them away, but let's just say you can pick them up. There's cheese and a little bit of chicken. Okay, nachos.
No, I don't think anybody caught that. No, not once. Is there a jalapeno on it too?
Well, that's another cool
allegedly.
thing is you being on weekly, on this Thursday, it's all yours. So we'll get through the first opening week, and hopefully you'll be able to come back next week.
Oh, I'm gonna have some stories.
Pump up,
Yes.
give us some stories, and
Yeah.
pump up the upcoming shows.
Yes, sir.
Real quick before we let you go, you already somewhat mentioned it, but I know you're a tennis fan. Are you watching the Open right now?
I am.
Do
I'm
you have a
watching it.
favorite?
I mean, Alcaraz. I'm an Alcaraz boy, number one in the world. But I have other favorites.
No Tiafoe? Come on, man.
no,
The
no,
American's
dude,
still going.
TFO's great, but he'll never be like a top 10.
No,
That's
absolutely. Don't we have an American close to the top 10?
Yeah, we have
though?
Taylor Fritz.
Fritz,
Taylor,
that's what I
Taylor
was thinking
Fritz. Yeah, Taylor Fritz is good. Dude, the Australian Open is fun, man. And this is honestly, I've been a tennis fan for over 15 years, but now I'm actually like watching the slams. I didn't catch the Australian Open last year, so I'm glad to watch it. And Stan Wawrinka is back. I don't know if you know him, but he's kind of like probably like an older Djokovic style player where he's been playing a minute and is kind of like on the edge of retirement, but this is like his last run. He's trying to win a slam again. And
is he going to be the big talking point this year for like a retirement tour,
I think,
kind of like they do with Nadal and all the other guys?
Maybe, yeah. I think that he's definitely going to be a point of emphasis. Not as high as Djokovic, but definitely has some. He's been a top player, and he has the best one-handed backhand in the world.
How
allegedly.
long do you think Djokovic has left, though?
Oh,
I've been trying to wrap my head around this for the last couple
It's just
months.
like, how long can Djokovic stay competitive in a world that is winning with Yannick and Carlos Alcaraz, who are in their early 20s, and Djokovic is near 40. So I think at a certain point, you're like, dude, I'm not going to be able to beat these.
So
dudes.
say he doesn't win a major for the next year, 2 years. Do you think he hangs it up?
Yeah, I think so, because it's expensive, and I'm sure he has a family and doesn't want to be, on tour losing consistently.
In his 40s,
yeah, and I think that's kind of like the Stan Wawrinka thing, where it's like, you've been on these tours, you've been losing a lot. It's like, do you want to go to the slam and lose again? It's not like football where like they get better as they get older. I think actually maybe quarterbacks also get slower too. Either way, we're all getting older. My knee hurts right now. So
on the women's side, do you have a favorite at all or no?
Women's, I wouldn't say I have like a particular favorite or anyone I typically follow. Coco Gauff is cool. The Americans are cool. Pegula, although her dad is a little, but
is Osaka in this one?
Osaka, yeah, she's a little crybaby
break?
sometimes. She's from Japan, but yeah, I think she may be in it.
I was like, I think she might be taking a mental health break.
Yeah, and it goes back to that. I don't want to be doing interviews because the mental health break. All right, Josh Allen, go cry. Come on, dude. Like, it's gonna be tough. DJ Moore, handle the conversation.
Leave the fireball kid alone.
All right, my friend. We have run out of time, though. We
Thank you,
really
guys.
appreciate yours. Open mics will be coming back to the well here in about a month, though.
Next
right?
month. I'll make an announcement. I'll be back hopefully to pitch that and see us in February, hopefully. Yes.
Fantastic.
See you
Well,
next week.
We will talk to you next week all about the Hans Kim show and
Mhm.
everything else coming up. I know you guys got like Uncle Laser and all these other guys coming in too. So very excited to talk to you and Dan about all this. And congratulations again. We really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Let's take a break real quick. We will get to our guy Bolt Brady on the other side, give you his picks of the week for these NFL championship weekend. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We also stream video live every single day from 7 to 9 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. It's time to talk to our guy, Bolt Brady, from Bolt Brady and His Bro at the BLEAV Network. Get his thoughts on these NFL championship games. Plus, I got to get his thoughts on this entire Live Golf PGA thing going on because Roy McIlroy is taking some shots. Live Golf has signed somebody new, and I got to get his thoughts on all this. Bolt, can you hear us?
Yeah, what's happening?
Sir, good morning. Thank you for joining us. First and foremost, let's start with the PGA real quick. I asked you last week what your thoughts were about, the shift over and these guys not leaving. But did you hear the new addition to Live Golf? And are you surprised that they're kind of focusing more on a younger crowd, maybe try to pull in the college players who want to just make a lot of money?
No, I mean, I think that's probably a pretty good route for them to go to. The senior guys don't seem to be as interested, so maybe the young bucks will go that direction.
So do you think that there's a world, because I was thinking about this when they announced that the top college pro or college player, I should say, will be going to Live Golf, and he's not going to be taking place in the Masters. Do you think there's going to be a world where potentially we see Live Golf be that middle ground between college golf and the PGA, kind of like a feeder league for the PGA one day?
Kind of like the G League is right now for the NBA.
Yeah, maybe that's how they get to survive. Maybe that, the PGA cracks out a deal with Live Golf, says, give us back all of our guys, but you get the up and comers, including our juniors, who will be, running through your system before they come to us.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think, everyone's always got different opinions on the situation, but sometimes guys want to go for the money, and sometimes guys are more interested in being in the Masters and the majors.
This is absolutely fair. Sir, let's get to your picks of the week. I know we got a very, very exciting championship weekend this weekend. First, how did you feel about the weekend last week in the games, how they ended? I mean, I know a lot of people are upset about the PI calls during the Denver Bronco and the Buffalo Bills game. I mean, how did you feel everything ended last week?
Well, I think it was crazy that the Bills were even in the game because they had 5 turnovers to 1.
Absolutely.
Typically a team is going to, statistics show that a team that wins the turnover battle is going to win the game 75% of the time. So when you have 5 turnovers to 1, kind of amazed the game was even that close, really.
Do you think that's an indictment on the Denver Broncos offense, though? I mean, does this tie to their inconsistencies?
Well, it does. And so that's the question is, how much of a drop-off, if any, is there with Jarrett coming in at quarterback, right? The line for this game before the injury was Broncos -1.5. Now it's Broncos +4.5, which is a 6-point difference. And that big of a difference is usually held up for someone like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. I think everyone's in agreement that there's not that big of a drop-off. That's one of the reasons why I like the Broncos in the points this weekend.
All right, at least there's not enough evidence to say that Bo is that much better than Stidham is, right?
Right, and there's a few things like with Stidham's background. Like, for example, when he came into the league, he came in with the Patriots in 2019, and he was the backup to Tom, right? And that's back when Josh McDaniel was the offensive coordinator, who's back to being the offensive coordinator. But when McDaniel took the head coaching job with the Raiders, one of the first signings he had was Jarrett.
Right. So there's definitely some talent there.
Yeah, and he obviously sees something there. And I don't think anyone's going to disagree that Josh knows what he's doing when it comes to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and the more I've read about it, even the coach over in Denver was saying, I think this might change some heads and turn some heads because now we can open up a different side of the offense that we usually can't.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I like that Bo's mobile also, but I think Jarrett's even more mobile than Bo. He was a huge dual threat coming out of high school and in college. He always had the ability to run the ball. So I do like that side of things with him as well.
So are you riding with that 4.5 points then with the Denver Broncos? Or
I am.
Like
yep.
Okay.
I love it.
I think that's a good bet, to be honest with you. 4.5 is a lot of points to be giving these guys right now, especially with the defense that they have.
And I mean, yesterday when I was prepping, they had it at 5.5, and they were talking about this was the biggest underdog in a conference final game, especially for a home team. Now we can move over to the NFC. I mean, even if Denver was to make it, do you think either one of these or Denver can hold up to either one of these teams?
Well, with the point spread, yes. Without the point spread, no. I think that the NFC, I think, would have the advantage there.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about that game is I would like the Rams there, but them playing 3 games in a row on the road is just brutal. And so with that in mind, I would lean with the Rams, but I wouldn't make it an official bet just because of that stat that I threw out about being on the road.
I can see that being the case. And Seattle will be somewhat cold, but at least it's not sub-freezing temperatures this weekend, right?
Right. I mean, I don't think Stafford, not that he played horrible, but he did not play that well. I think you're going to get a better game out of him. It's always scary when, there's the last possession of the game and he's got Puka and Adams to throw to with Williams in the backfield. I always feel like they can score.
Right. And that's not even counting the 3 tight ends that they go to like 60% of the time too. So,
right.
And Kyron, I mean, that backfield, I that was one of the things with, with Stafford not having a great game last week until he was called upon. I wouldn't want to play Stafford, after a game like that. But if anybody, I mean, Seattle looks like they're playing some great football right now.
They do. It's just Darnold always scares me.
Right. Well, and I don't think he's fully healed from this oblique injury. They barely got 120 yards, 130 yards out of him last week, and lucked out that the defense made so many plays and Kenneth Walker could run all over that, or the Niners defense.
But still not practicing this week. He's just going to take it real slow with him. So maybe that's one of the key targets, what he can do against this Rams defense.
We've seen these two take each other on twice this year already. I believe one of them for sure went to overtime. I can't remember if the other one did, but it was definitely a 1-score game. Do you see a 1-score game here?
Probably. I mean, they did go 1-1. The game, except the Rams really should have been 2-0 against them. They were pounding them in Seattle, and they let them back in the game with a punt return and that silly 2-point conversion.
Yep.
So I think this line being at -2.5, the books are telling you that they like the Rams because it's been at 2.5 all week. It hasn't moved. Not to say that it's not, but when it's not at the key number of 3, that that's making people go, oh, Seattle can easily cover it. They just need to be by a field goal. But the books, in my opinion, are telling you they like the Rams here.
No, and honestly, I think the experience factor has to come in at some point as well. You got Sean McVay against a guy who has only won 1 playoff game. So I think that you're right. And Vegas probably sees something that most people do not, as they usually do.
And we get Sean versus Mike in both conferences.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. Do we have any text messages for
that?
Bolt
The one you just or the listener that we had just had the same question you just asked was the favorable. If he should take the numbers on the NFC game.
So, sir, thank you so much for your time. Will we talk to you next week before the Pro Bowl, or should we just wait an extra week until Super Bowl?
Well, I could come on. We could chat.
Okay, fantastic. We'll talk to you next week then, and we'll talk all about what people need to know about the Super Bowl bets and prop bets and whatnot, if you're okay with that.
Of course.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, sir. We really appreciate it, and we will talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Let's take a break. We'll get into some of these other stories on the other side. The Jeanie Buss versus LeBron beef. We'll get into that a little bit. She talked to The Athletic and kind of cleared the air about all of that. Plus, we haven't gotten into Tommaso Ciampa walking away from the WWE.
And the Knicks.
Yes, the Knicks finally pull off a win after a team players only meeting where Jalen Brunson called everybody out and said, hey, I can't be the only one playing like an all-star. We got 5 guys out there. Let's go. Pick it up. And the Knicks finally figured it out. And it wasn't Mike Brown that made it happen.
It wasn't even close.
It was not even close. So let's take a break. We'll get into all that on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Final segment of the show right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We are the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. I want to thank our guests of the day, and Anthony Jauregui and Bolt Brady. You'll hear both of them next week as well during the 8 o'clock hour. So please feel free to rejoin us or go back on our YouTube channel. You can watch all of our previous interviews with both of those fantastic individuals right there. They're all at your disposal. Let's get into some of these side stories real quick. I know we only got about 4 or 5 minutes, so some of them we're not going to be able to get to. We'll start in the NBA, though, as the first of potentially many connected to the sports gambling conspiracy involving Terry Rozier and Jonte Porter was sentenced on Wednesday. I apologize. Timothy McCormick, a self-proclaimed gambling addict, received 2 years prison sentence for his connection. He defrauded sports betting platforms by using non-public information to place highly profitable wages tied to the performances of NBA players, allegedly in on the scheme. As I read from ESPN, this is all connected to the players, over unders, all of that type of stuff, where they would pull themselves out due to injuries and whatnot. This is connected to the Terry Rozier situation, where he has pled not guilty to fraud and money laundering, conspiracy, all that type of stuff. Jonte Porter, though, on the other hand, pled guilty back in 2024. This will most likely be the first in a couple. I would think a lot, actually, of sentencings here in the coming months of a lot of these guys that are connected to this giant betting scandal within the NBA. And then on the other side of the NBA as well, Jeanie Buss and the Buss family have been under the microscope ever since the $10 billion sale of the franchise to Mark Walter. And it has come to light that a lot of it had to do with some in-family squabbles between Jeanie and her brothers, including apparently some people saying that LeBron James has something to do with this because of the long-standing issues that the franchise has had with him and his business partner, Rich Paul, and Clutch Sports, claiming that the Lakers don't really care for the fact that not only LeBron, but Anthony Davis, who also was part of Clutch Sports, had a little bit too much power and say in the franchise, not to mention just how the franchise was going. There was mounting frustrations on all sides of this relationship. But Jeanie has gone to The Athletic and said, and this is a quote straight from The Athletic, says, "It's really not right, given all the things that LeBron has done for the Lakers, that he has been pulled into my family drama. To say that it wasn't appreciated is just not true and completely unfair to him." She's trying to clear the air, obviously saying, the sale had nothing to do with our relationship with LeBron. It was more probably about the fact that the brothers and her were fighting over who gets to do what. Jeanie was taking all the power. The brothers weren't allowed to do certain things. And the fan base honestly wanted it that way. Let's be fair. So everything kind of just derives from that. And of course, when LeBron James is around, the media is going to connect it to that. What are your thoughts on this, my friend? I mean, I don't think I've seen enough evidence to say that the relationship between LeBron and Jeanie is destroyed. I can honestly say that LeBron has been very vocal about not liking certain things that the front office has done or the way they run the organization at certain times, maybe highlighting some things the brothers were doing that they didn't like. But I can honestly say that I trust her judgment in this quote and saying, hey, this wasn't about LeBron. This was about the family.
Yeah, I think she knocked it right out. I think it is more of a family dispute, and of course, LeBron being the face of that team is always going to get dragged into their drama. But I mean, I read and I heard, and I there's nothing I would know that would change any thoughts on the process.
Right, and I again, if there's in family squabbles, that is what it is. Maybe he was at the center of a couple of the arguments due to some deals that had to be made between the Buss family and Clutch Sports when they owned the team, and just, save face and all of that. But I agree. I don't think that there was anything that LeBron directly did to really cause the sale to Mark Walter. I don't think that was anything.
And I'm sure we'll hear more once he retires and the documentaries come out.
Absolutely.
There'll be much more. And a big shout out to Knicks fans, because that beat down that they brought to the Nets last night was just crazy.
They needed it too, because they had been falling in the standings rapidly. And for a team that
I mean, we were talking about the Buffalo Bills having the best possible opportunity to win a championship. This is the Knicks' best possible opportunity to get to a championship. I'm not going to say win it, but they could definitely make it out of the East. That's for damn sure. We have run out of time, though. We'll get to Tommaso Ciampa and all these other stories tomorrow. Join us 7 to 9 a.m. as always. But until then, Sparky, let's get out of here.